Hi and welcome to No Second Season. Guess where I am? On this beautiful blue sky day. Sunny, sun's going to set somewhere over this way. So I've based my tent sort of in the right direction, not quite east-west. The sun should come up somewhere through there in the morning. Now I'm partially set up, I've still got some more to do. I've already had 4 journeys to the car. It's quite a long one, and the reason for that is because over there must be about, I don't know, 8 tents. Lots of people. I don't want to be near people. Far too peoply for me. So I come over here and I wanted to put my tarp up, and as you can see from all this mess in the snow, I actually put it up here. I thought with this live small tree I'll be safe. I wasn't under this one. Perhaps if it fell some little bits would hit me, but it wouldn't kill me. And this one I thought it would fall away from here. I got the tarp up, started putting my tent up, and I realised it's completely rotten down here, and it'll probably, and it's rotten down here as well, and it would fall straight onto my tent, which was here. So I'm not going to put the tarp up. There's nowhere safe really. Usually I go under a living tree if I have to go under trees, but look at this living tree. It's down. So I thought better to be safe than sorry, and I've moved just over here. And there's a small living tree, another small living tree here. The dodgy tree is there, but I'm pretty sure, I don't even, well, I might be unlucky and it'll fall this way, but I can't see it will. I think it'll go that way, exactly where my tent was. Yeah, so no tarp today. It's such a beautiful day. It's absolutely glorious. It's Saturday, the 22nd of July. That makes it nearly smack bang on midwinter here. The nights have just started to draw out. It's about 20 past 5 now when it starts to get dark, which is great. So I thought I'd come up here to the snow. It's been a very dodgy snow season so far. Quite strange, you know, it's been, the roads, mountain roads have been closed because of blizzards, and then it's rained and there's been a storm. So we couldn't come then, didn't want to come in the rain. The snow, there's not so much about, but there are thousands of people at Hotham. It is rammed. Even here it's really busy. So everyone's making the most of it. Anyway, I'd better get finished setting up. Another trek back to the car. I've just got back to my car and I've had a terrible realisation. I've forgotten my car camping stove. Now, luckily, I bought my bike packing stove, but the idiot that I am, I don't think I brought any gas. Ah, what a disaster. It's 4:30 at JB Plain. I'm all set up. Big disaster. I had taken my car camping stove out of the box it usually is in, so I had forgotten it. I had brought my bike camping stove as an emergency spare because last time I was here my car camping stove broke. I had to get a new one. But I've forgotten the gas for my bike packing stove. Now I remember picking the gas up and saying I must take that, and then I don't know what I did with it. But I haven't brought it. Now in my car I carry an emergency kit, and in it I have one of these little solid fuel burners, and that is all I'm going to have to cook and hot heat water on this weekend. I feel a bit down. I feel a bit upset with myself for forgetting that. Usually I forgive myself, but it's pretty crucial, isn't it? Anyway, it's not the end of the world. I have this, and there's the JB hut over there, and luckily on my way I stopped off and got some kindling and some logs. I'm not actually allowed to light a fire here, I don't think. But I could go in the hut and cook if necessary. So let's try this for the first time and make a cup of tea. I think this stuff is called hexamine. It's nasty stuff. I'm going to try and not touch it with my hands. It's really poisonous from what I understand. So I'm going to put 2 tablets in there. It doesn't look very fiery. Take a look. It's burning a bit better now. What a complete disaster. Nincompoop. Ninkum twat. Ninkum knobhead. I am the highest ninkum, but I can't say it on here. But it's a ninkum C word. Right, I must add gas, and I've brought loads of the gas for the other I've brought loads of gas, loads and loads for my other stove that I didn't bring, but no gas for the stove I did bring. What a nincompoop. I eventually got a cup of tea out of the emergency stove. I did have to end up putting 5 tablets on, but it really was burning high then, and it's still burning from those. And so at the same time with those 5, so that's the burn, that's with 5 of them on there. And I've heated up some ravioli, cook something quickly. I can't believe, oh, hello, are you there? All steamed up again. I'm very hungry. It's about 5 o'clock, and the temperature it says it's 0.1 of a degree. It doesn't feel like that. It feels bloody cold, and the snow is really icy now. There was a period this afternoon where the sun was shining here and the snow was getting quite wet, but now it's quite icy. I'm going to eat my food, try and calm down, because it's quite upset me that I forgot my camping stove. It's just so silly. And I went right through my list. I'm a nincompoop. Today I'm not going to set up my blow up mattress, my Aircore Ultra. I bought this self-inflating mat from Aldi for about $30. I'm going to give that a go on top of my Helinox cot. Hi, tonight I have a story for you. Now this story, it's true and it's tragic, somewhat macabre, and it took place just over 3 years ago. It started in March 2020 and it happened in Australia, not 40 kilometres from where I'm sitting right now. It's a tragic tale, and I believe it's born out of anger, and it occurred deep in the wilderness of Victoria's Alpine National Park, the park I'm sitting in now, at a location that is hours away from civilization. So if you got into trouble there, you wouldn't be able to get any help, and there is no phone signal. Now the story is about Carol Clay, a single 73-year-old lady, and Russell Hill, a married 74-year-old man. It was Thursday the 19th of March when Mr. Hill left his home near Melbourne and drove the 40 kilometres to pick up Carol from her house in the east of Melbourne in his white Toyota Land Cruiser. The couple drove north for 75 kilometres via the alpine town of Lickala, continuing on that day, presumably on 4x4 dirt tracks in the Alpine National Park wilderness area for around another 85 kilometres, and they stopped to camp overnight at Howitt High Plains. The next day, that was Friday, they set off and headed further into the bush. Russell Hill was spotted that day by a forestry worker who reported that Mr. Hill looked grumpy and was speeding along the 4x4 track, and perhaps he was just concentrating hard on enjoying his 4x4ing, which is a common pastime here for many, many people. And after all, Russell was a bushman and an ex-logger, so he probably knew it like the back of his hand, so perhaps his perceived speed was because he knew the area. There was also confirmation that the couple were in the Wonangata Valley that morning because Mr. Hill spoke to someone on his high-frequency radio, in fact a friend of his. Now after that, it's all a bit sketchy. They were seen one more time, and that's when they arrived at the Dry River Creek Wilderness area. Now it was reported by a witness that they saw the couple park up unusually close to another camper in the area. Possibly they set up camp near someone and it annoyed them. So the information is a bit sketchy from now until the emergency services were informed that there was a burnt out campsite and there was an abandoned white Land Cruiser, also with a little bit of fire damage, in the Dry River Creek Wilderness Area campground. So the campsite had been reported. Mr. Hill was due home on the 28th of March, and it was on or around the 28th of March his wife, Robin, reported him missing, and then a couple of days later someone reported Carol as missing. Now the police first arrived at the burnt out campsite on the Saturday the 28th of March, and since that time they've had the federal police, the state police, helicopters, cadaver dogs, search and rescue. There's been a thorough search for Carol and Russell, but they just weren't to be found anywhere, and it was their campsite, obviously, that had been burnt, and all their possessions had been put on the fire and burnt, except their telephones were missing and Mr. Hill's drone. So whether that drone had anything to do with their disappearance, we don't know yet. It was a terrible time for the families, especially Russell's wife Robin, as she didn't know he'd gone camping with Carol. A couple of months into the investigation, police had exhausted all avenues of Carol and Russell being alive. They hadn't run away together or anything like that, and they announced that they were likely to be dead. Police scoured regional and rural Victoria. Not a stone was left unturned, with police identifying all vehicles that had been in the Wanangata Valley at the time of the disappearances. Vehicles were tested, interviews were carried out, but to no avail, until they were made aware of a 4x4 that witnesses say they had seen in the area near the missing couple's campsite around that time. And it was seen in the area late at night, towing a trailer. On the 21st of March, Mr. Hill's mobile phone had been pinging as though it was driving from the Wanangata Valley up towards Hotham. Because Hotham is a ski resort, it has number plate recognition because you have to pay to visit it during the ski season. And on that night, 12 cars were recorded as passing through Hotham. 11 of them were eliminated from the investigations, but one, a blue Nissan Patrol, still hadn't been interviewed. And this was owned by a man called Greg Lynn. He was interviewed at his home by police, and allegedly the what once was blue Nissan Patrol, as it passed through Hotham, was now beige in colour, which they found very strange. And from this point on, I believe the police were pretty sure they knew who had killed Russell and Carol. They just needed to prove it. And it took a long time. Apparently the Nissan Patrol had tried to leave the Wanangata Valley via the Myrtleford turn-in, but due to the forest fires, the track gate was closed, so the driver had to backtrack quite some way and then use the Hotham exit. Now, that must have been quite a panic moment if you were driving your 4x4 along these bumpy rough tracks with a trailer with 2 dead bodies in them. So he must have been panicked. Christmas came and went, as did the anniversary of the disappearances of Carol and Russell. But the police were working very hard in the background. They may not have made an arrest, but they knew who did it and they needed to prove it. All along, police were making noises that they were homing in on the perpetrator who was responsible for Carol and Russell's disappearance. And in that, they had gained warrants to bug and track Greg Lynn's car and home. They had to go through hundreds and hundreds of recordings. So they swept in and they arrested him. And that was on the 22nd of November 2021. Greg Lynn was a Jetstar pilot. Jetstar is quite a big airline in Australia. His Nissan Patrol being seized by police for forensic testing. His box trailer was never found. It was sold on Gumtree and couldn't be traced. It was a significant and commendable achievement by police. The covert operations were intense and the officers were fatigued, but still there was more work to do. Russell and Carol's bodies still hadn't been found. In February 2022, the Victoria Police confirmed they had located remains in bushland near Dargo, around 50 kilometres south of where I sit now, in the Grants historical area. Bone fragments, ladies' jewellery and some dentures were found, buried in a fallen tree root pit. DNA testing confirmed that the bone fragments belonged to Carol. Greg Lynn was charged with the murder of the two on Thursday the 25th of November 2021. After the painstaking investigations over the 20-month period, the commitment and dedication of the police regarding this heinous crime has to be commended, as does acknowledging the sacrifices and agonising weight that Carol and Russell's loved ones went through. The prosecution alleged that Lynn had set up camp in the Wanangata Valley a few hours before Carol and Russell turned up, and for some reason, the reason that is unknown, but they got into a deadly argument, and it's believed or alleged that they were shot, all their belongings were burnt, their phones and drone were taken. Now, drones actually aren't allowed to be used in the national and state parks here unless you have a permit. So whether Russell was flying a drone around and that had annoyed Mr. Lynn, this is speculation. I'm just speculating. Possibly Mr. Lynn shot the drone down. Who knows? And a feud started, and it ended with the murder of Carol and Russell. It's so terrible, it's just unbelievable, really. And it's believed after he shot them, he put their bodies in his trailer and he left via Hotham and took their bodies to the Grants Historical Area where he buried them. It's also alleged that Lynn returned to the burial spot at least twice, and possibly the police tracking him there is how they knew to be searching there. And apparently he returned twice so he could burn the remains and try and cover up his heinous crime. Greg Lynn actually pleaded not guilty to the 2 counts of murder, and the trial has been pushed back to October 2023. It's now July 2023, but there's a bit of a kerfuffle with his barrister over money, I think, or releasing funds, and the trial may even get pushed into 2024. It just shows how silly disputes can escalate. I speculate possibly the argument over a camp spot, or Mr. Hill flying his drone. Neither would back down. All about ego, and it resulted in this terrible crime. It's so very sad and tragic. If there's anything to take away from this sad tale, for me, it's the bigger man that walks away. At the moment, it's all speculation because you are innocent until proven guilty, and we wait for the trial to see if we learn any more about this awful crime. I send my condolences to Carol and Russell's families. It's a terrible turn of events, and should Mr. Lynn be found guilty, it won't bring Carol and Russell back, and that's the sad part about it. But I hope it gives them some sort of closure, and that they can build new lives and learn to live with this tragedy. So when the case finally comes to the Supreme Court, I'll update you down below. And so that's the sad tale of Carol Clay and Russell Hill. Unbelievable. I'm going to get to bed now. It's trying to snow actually. It's a little bit of snow coming down, which is nice. But the sky is cloudy, which is a shame. Oh, it is snowing. That's lovely. I like that. And I just hope tomorrow I get some snowfeeting done. I probably won't do any more snowshoeing because I had to walk to my car and back 8 times because I'm just such a knobhead. I just keep forgetting things, and I had to keep going back to the car, and it's a long way, so I've done lots of snowshoeing. so tomorrow I may just be doing some snow feeting. So let's get to bed. It's 9:15, so I'm going to get to bed now. I've had something to eat. I'd love another cup of tea or a hot drink, perhaps some hot lemon water, but I haven't got enough of those hexamine tablets left really, otherwise I won't be getting my coffee, a couple of coffees in the morning. I'd also planned, I brought with me this Nalgene bottle and I was going to make myself a hot water bottle, but again I haven't got enough of those hexamine tablets. Now those, I think it's hexamine anyway. So this little burner has saved my life. I keep this in the car with a little emergency kit, so it absolutely saved this trip because I'd have had to go home. I couldn't have not had any food or hot drinks if I hadn't had that, so it saved my ass. But those hexamine tablets are lethal, and there's another YouTube I watch and the man handles them and he's touching them and picking them up, and they are absolutely lethal. They are known to be a carcinogen and also known to cause fetal abnormalities. So they're nasty things, and they've got an odourless gas or an odourless smoke that comes off them, so you don't even know if you're inhaling it. So I certainly would not like that in here, as much as I'd like to, just to get a little bit of heat and to be able to just cook inside. But there's no way with that I will. So this will always be an emergency thing for me. I will never ever use one of those permanently. I know it's lightweight, but that chemical is lethal, and I don't want to be anywhere near it. Tonight I've discovered that my phone is buggered, so it looks like I'm going to have to buy a new telephone, which is a real pain because I've got another project on the go, and that's costing money and I can't afford to do it yet, but it's underway. I was just waiting till I can afford to do a few jobs on it and then get some insurance, and then you'll see my new little expedition vehicle. Anyway, I'm going to get to bed now. I don't feel very tired, which is a bit of a pain. Okay, it's about 10 o'clock. I'm going to listen to some YouTubes I've downloaded, some of Rusty West's National Park disappearances. I don't know why I listen to them, because it only makes me more scared of hiking and camping and biking, etc. So many people disappear, some are never found, and some are found deceased years and years later. So I don't know why I listen to them, but anyway, I'm going to go off to sleep now, so hopefully I won't see you until the morning. Nighty night. Morning. It's bloody freezing. My hands are like icicles. Better warm them up. I need to put my gloves back on. I'm just making my first coffee of the day with these horrible hexamine tablets. So that little clip I just did of saying hello and showing you my pan on the stove was as long as the battery lasted in my GoPro. I've charged it up since I've been here, perhaps 7 times now. No one's up yet, I don't think. And the sky is gloomy. I don't think the sun's going to be popping through that anytime soon. The sun will be coming up over that way. I can't believe it, last night you can see the footprints just here. So this is my tent. Footprints, someone walked right by my tent in the night. Yeah, it was about gone 11 o'clock and someone walked by my tent and I said, what the f***? Do you know? Why would someone need to walk so close to your tent late at night? And anyway, when I said what the f***, he went, ooh, scary, or something like that. And I just thought, I've got a big knife in here. Don't come close. And anyway, I didn't hear any more from him. So anyway, let's get that coffee. So my battery, after 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes recording, is down to 31%. It will go off in a minute. But this is what I had on my feet. My little booties, 2 pairs of leg warmers, and a thick pair of ski socks. And my feet did actually keep warm. They weren't cold in the night at all. In fact, I wasn't cold at night at all, but I had a lot on. I had all my kettle's boiling, I better do that. I've resorted to using my old GoPro, my Hero 5. The 8, it just won't go for more than 5 minutes before it stops. What a pain. Anyway, I've queued up at the bush toilet. There's a way over there. There's a search and rescue training session going on. So the bush toilet was busy, and I'm just gonna make myself another coffee and have some cold baked beans, an instant mashed potato, and believe it or not, and I know you won't, but if I had brought my stove, I was going to be a little more adventurous with my cooking. Nothing exciting, but a bit better than cold baked beans and instant mashed potato or noodles. Anyway, it's really a pain in the butt without a stove. I don't think I'll hang around long today. I'll do a bit of SNOWFEETing, and then I've got 8 journeys to get all this junk back to my car. Anyway, I was following the footprints, don't know if you can see it, of the man who come by last night. And they go over here, and then he does a loop, and then he goes over here. And then he's gone over here. And in fact, it looks like there's a man's set of prints and a lady's. There are 2 sets of prints. Anyway, let's get back and get a coffee. Anyway, I've got a nice cup of coffee. So cheers to you and to your day, whatever you're doing today. So another problem with this little stove is keeping the pot on it. Because my pot's so big, I've lost my water once fully and just then nearly. So it's very precariously balanced on the little stove. But anyway, it saved my butt because I would have had to go home because I'd have had nothing to eat or drink. Not that it was warm anyway. So cheers to you. I'm just going to pack up a few things before I start snowshoeing, just in case it starts snowing heavily. Now, I was really comfortable last night, so I think I'm going to use that setup as my go-to. So it was the Helinox Cot, my Thermarest Z-Lite, then my Aldi cheap self-inflating mat. Now you have to squeeze the air out of that. I haven't done it very well. It's quite big. It's not usually that big. Then I had my crappy old sleeping bag with a sleeping bag liner. I had a lot of clothes on. I had 2 pairs of ankle warmers, the booties, ski socks, 2 pairs of thermal pants, a pair of thick joggers and my snowboard pants. And on top I had a merino wool top, 2 thermal tops and a hoodie. And part of the time I had this big coat on, but I couldn't sleep in that, I was too hot. So I think I'll make that my go-to. The cot and this. I was so incredibly comfortable. Not a problem with my hips and shoulders at all. It was lovely and spongy. So there you go. I'm getting somewhere. So I've just spent quite some time getting ready to do some snow feeting, putting my sponge pants on, having the right kit on, bringing the stuff over, packing the rucksack. But I get back to the tent and look at the sky. It's black all around. So I'm worried. I don't want to get stuck up the mountain because they do close the road. If a blizzard comes in, they close the Hotham Road and you're stuck up the mountain. My first SNOWFEET session of 2023. I'm not feeling confident and I'm really worried about the weather. So I'd better get my arse into gear. So that went well. Wears me out of breath. It is the perfect kind of snow. It's hard packed with about 2 centimetres of icy softer snow on top, and it seems to be good. Nearly went over. In case you're watching my videos for the first time, these are called SNOWFEET. They're like miniature skis. I can't remember how much they were, perhaps less than $200. But they're very slippery, slidey. They've got bindings on them, they're not handed, easy to carry, very slippery, quite scary for someone who hasn't done snow sports before. But if you take a look at my Snowvernighter snow camping videos, 2 of them from, I don't know, this time last year, around abouts, you'll see me first time on them. I'm still not really good on them because apparently you can use it for downhill skiing, but as soon as I get on an incline I panic. Anyway, I'm going to find one now. Ouch. So I just put my SNOWFEET on, turned around to come on the track, turned the camera on, fell over onto my elbow. it really hurts. It's not broken or anything, but I bet I've done something to it that's going to take a while to heal. Luckily, I've got my wrist guards on today, but the elbow is sore. That was silly. I think I'll go and get a cup of coffee. Might do some more later. Not sure where my tent is. It's somewhere over here. So the clouds are slowly melting away. The sun is making an appearance. Things are warming up. It's beautiful here. I'm absolutely astounded how much snow there actually is here, because there hasn't been much snow at the resorts this winter, this snow season, but here it's absolutely perfect. I've just used the last hexamine tablets on the stove, so I'm having a cup of coffee, and then I think I'll pack up. I've got another 3 journeys back to the car, so quite a bit to do. That's going to take till probably 1 o'clock, 1:30. Then I've got, well, trying to get through Hotham, probably 3-hour journey home, and that's late enough because I need to pack up, get all the things dried out, and I'm short of space now, so I'm not sure where I'm going to dry everything. I have to have a think on that. Anyway, I'm going to drink my coffee. Cheers. LNT, leave no trace. It's all good. Hi, so I'm just making my way down the mountain, way below the snow line now, around 1200 metres, and it's getting on for 2 o'clock. It's 10 to 2. I made my pack up in, I think, five runs back to the car from camp, so I reckon I've done at least 5 kilometres on my snowshoes, just going backwards and forwards to the car. Anyway, I had a wonderful time, so pleased my snow feeting has improved. I'm absolutely stoked about that. I know it doesn't look rad to you lot watching, but to me it showed a massive improvement, and I really enjoyed it. But I needed to get going. I've got all my car to unpack and everything to dry out and clean. I'd like to get back here this snow season, but the snow is really random. There's not much of it, but there was lots at JB Plain, strangely. But you don't know until you get there. But I would like to get back and improve my snow feeting again, be a bit more adventurous, and try and cut out some of the kerfuffle, park a bit close or camp a bit closer to the car park so it's less kerfuffle. But yeah, we will see. Anyway, I'll close this video here. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, perhaps you'd think about subscribing too. And until next time, it's goodbye for now.
Le cha-cha-cha d'origine cubaine est un mambo que l'on joue sur un rythme lent. Nous commençons par l'étude du pas de base Le va-et-vient.
Apprenons le cha-cha-cha. Apprenons le cha-cha-cha. Le cha-cha-cha.